What's up, you beautiful podcasters? It's your boy Travis from Poddex, and I'm very excited because I got my hands on the Tascam Mixcast 4. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you a complete overview of this podcasting workstation and actually tell you why I'm switching from the Rodecaster Pro to the Tascam Mixcast 4. Now, I'm also going to be giving away this Mixcast 4 to one of you. That's right. You could have this Mixcast 4 on your desk and use all of the features to be able to record up to 4 people at once. Have 4 people monitoring audio on headphones, use Bluetooth, use sound effects on sound pads, have people call into the show. There are so many features where you can use this device to record all of your audio directly to it on an SD card or directly into your computer, into your digital audio workstation. So I'm gonna be going over every single thing that I can think of that makes this a game changer for podcasters and exactly why I'm switching to the Mixcast 4. Now, Tascam's been in the audio industry for 50 years, and I've been using their products since I was 14 years old. So once they announced the Mixcast 4, I got very excited to see what they were going to do to innovate the podcasting space. And I think they've done a really great job of putting something together that has an easy workflow and a bunch of features that are going to help you podcast better. So let's go ahead and dig into the Mixcast 4 and head over to the overview so I can show you all these killer features.
All right, let's talk about I/O. So this is 14 in, 2 out. You've got 4 mic inputs, and these are dual XLRs. So that means you could plug an instrument or a microphone. We've got tip ring sleeve for a phone input, or we can just go line in, and we have a nice little switch here where we can select what we want to do. Now, there's a couple ways to go out of the device. You have a line out and your monitor out, and we also have a USB-C for connectivity, as well as 4 headphone outputs. Now, this is going to use full-size SD cards, which I actually like. I find it hard to stick in the small SD cards, and you can lose those easier, so very easy, and you probably have one laying around. And then finally, you've got your locking power adapter, which makes sure that you're not going to unplug this while you're recording, and then, of course, your power button to turn it on. In the box, you're going to get a USB-C cable for connectivity with devices, your AC power adapter, and of course, the adapters to plug this in for the European versions. Now, on the top of the device, we've got our faders. We've got 8 faders, and they've got a little resistance to them, which I really like because that makes my movements a little more detailed with my fades, and if I'm going to raise the volume on something. Of course, they're going to indicate which channel you're moving. And then at the top, you have your solo and mute buttons. This is just really similar to other mixing consoles and makes a lot of sense from a workflow standpoint. Now, compared to the Rodecaster Pro, I really like that those buttons are at the top because sometimes you're reaching for the faders and you accidentally turn on maybe monitoring or mute, and so it makes more sense to have them at the top as opposed to the bottom of the mixer. Now, you also have a talkback button. Super cool because you can communicate with the people you're recording with without it being transmitted or recorded. You just hold it down and speak. Those around you will hear you, and it will not be recorded. Now, at the top, we have our master volume. This is if you're going to be broadcasting over monitors. And then, of course, each individual headphone output has its own volume knob. So it's very easy to get the levels you want. Now, our sound effects pads are located at the bottom, which I think makes a lot of sense, and they're a lot smaller than they are on the Rodecaster Pro. So they take up less real estate, which makes more room for this 5-inch display. At the top, we've got a record button, play button, and marker button. So I love this little detail here. It's the LED light that indicates that the device is recording. So if you have people sitting around a table, they're going to know when you're recording the podcast. And I think it's little things like this that really make a difference in how Tascam rolled out this product. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and plug in a microphone, and I've just picked the Shure SM57 with a presidential windscreen to test the device so you can hear what a budget microphone can do with Tascam's Mixcast 4. All right, now let me walk you through the menu and display on the Tascam Mixcast 4. So this screen is going to allow us to monitor what's happening on all of our channels, but if we want to start to get into the actual device, we're going to go to this hamburger menu, which gives us 5 options. Let's dive into the first. This is going to give us input control. We have 4 microphones, USB, phone, and Bluetooth. So if I jump into the microphone, I can actually see how hot the microphone is, and I can change the gain on that microphone. Now I'm just tapping on this, that's why it's going crazy. But if I had a condenser mic, I could just put it in the condenser setting. Now, if I jump back here to the main menu, you could see this little red dot. And that lets me know that we have phantom power enabled. And you don't need phantom on a dynamic microphone, so it automatically turns that off, which is great. So I can tell the Mixcast where I'm plugging the microphone in. We're plugged into the back of the device. And then I have a couple other options. Now I have what's called voice settings. So this is going to be the processing page, and it's going to give us some awesome presets. You've got deep, mid, bright, and manual. And then we have some compressor settings, and you can turn those off by simply just tapping these switches, and they will be bypassed. So if you go into manual mode, you're just going to click on this little toolbar, and then you can actually get in there and do things that you want, set specific frequencies and gains, high shelf, low shelf, or just completely bypass everything. So I'm just going to reset that and go back because I like the deep mode. And then my compressor, I'm just leaving on soft. I think it just sounds good, but you can use soft, hard, or manual in the same capacity. Once you tap on manual, you'll see the little toolbar, and that's how you know you can get in there and fine tune what you're working on. Next up, we've got the de-esser, noise suppressor, and ducking available. So we're going to be able to make sure we don't have any sibilants. We can reduce noise in our room. And of course, ducking is going to work with, if we're playing music, if we're doing anything from USB, it's going to duck that audio so our voice is most prominent. So we can turn those all off by simply just hitting the processing tab and moving right along. Now that's the voice settings. Now the effect settings, they actually have a voice changer and reverb, okay? So we can turn those on, and it lets us know it's only gonna work on one channel. We can do small, medium, or large. We can make it drier or wetter, or we could get in there and just make it whatever we want it to be. And then of course we have I'm gonna turn the reverb off. We've got a voice changer, and this is really cool. This voice changer is going to allow us to change the pitch of our voice. So if we want that real deep, growly voice, or if we want a high chipmunk voice, we can do that. And you can either leave this on all the time, or if you turn it off, I'm going to show you how you can actually use one of the sound pads to trigger that on. So once we go through these menus, we can really get in there and put processing on anything that we want. If USB is for talk, we can put it on talk. If we have the phone and we're just playing music, we can set it to music. So you can get in there and really set all these inputs how you want them. All right, now next up in the menu is our play button. And this is going to show us all the podcasts we've recorded internally to the device. We can rename them, we can delete them, and we can go into advanced and do things like create and overwrite position. So let's say in this episode I messed up at about this point. I can press the overwrite position and set it. And then once I push the record button, it's going to start recording at that point. Okay, so you can overwrite some of the audio you've done. I'm just going to clear that out. And that is your playback. Now, if we go into the sound pads, this is pretty cool. We can control what the sound pad actually does. If it latches, just replays, one shot, repeat, or just a touch. So I typically keep mine on one shot. We can change the colors. If we want to change the colors of each button, no problem at all. And it tells us what sound we're on. So you're gonna get 7 automatic sound effects. You got applause, alarm, air horn, brass, drum beat, heartbeat, and bleep. And then the last one's gonna be for that effect. So if I tap that effect button, it's gonna turn on whatever voice effect we had put on the input. All right, let's check out the hardware settings, and I love this, auto power off. So you can make the device just go to sleep after you're not using it, which is very convenient. I like to leave my stuff on all the time, and I'd love it if I didn't have to reach behind and turn it off. So now I don't have to. And let's go into audio. So we have the ability to turn on and off mix minus, auto mixer, feedback prevention, the line level output, and this disables our monitor knob. And we can decide if solo mode is pre or post fader. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tap these back on because that's what I want, and jump back to multi-track. So now we can tell it to multi-record our tracks on the SD card, and we can turn on and off the effects bypass. So if we turn on the bypass, it's just basically going to record all the raw audio that we can affect later, or you can leave it off and have it record as you're hearing it through the headphones. Delay. This is so awesome. So I do a lot of video, and when I'm on video, I notice that sometimes there is a delay between my voice and the video. So now we can actually insert, let's say 6 milliseconds of delay, so we can line up our video and audio. This is something that no one else has and is a really great feature that's built into the Mixcast 4. As podcasters, we're going to start doing way more video, and it's very important to have your audio and video line up properly. And last but not least, we can change things like the language. They have multiple languages available. We can set the date and time. You want to do this so your files all are marked properly, and we can just completely reset if we make a mistake, if we've done something we don't like. And that is your menu for the Mixcast 4. All right, so I had mentioned how effect number 8 is actually attached to the microphone effect. So if I go back into my mic settings and I see that I have the voice changer, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn it on. I'm gonna turn it down super low and then turn it back off, okay? Now this is attached to this specific pad. So if I go into the device and I press record, I'll be talking normally, and if I hold down
this button, it puts on the pitch effect. And if I let
go, I'm back to normal. So it's super cool for adding another character or
alter ego onto your podcast here
with the press of a button. So let's talk about these sound effects. So you're going to get this preloaded applause alarm, air horn, brass, etc. But there's 7 other banks that you can fill up. Now you can add these in if you connect to USB. You can add those different effects in, or you can do something like record your own sound effects directly into the pad. So if I go to pad record, I could say record start. Oh yeah, baby. All right. And now I can just go ahead and delete that and say, oh yeah, baby. All right. And now this pad is the oh yeah, baby effect. So I'll just go ahead and record it for you. Oh yeah, baby. All right, cool. So you can hear that in the video here. All right. And if I go back to my pads here, all I have to do is scroll over. So I can actually get in there and I can change the color of that. So if I go to this bank and I could say, I want that to be yellow, it changes the color. Red changes the color of the pad. So I know what I'm doing. Super cool to be able to make your own effects or add your own voice into the podcast using the sound pads and using this little scroller to get through them very quickly.
Oh yeah.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to Travis's podcast on the Tascam Mixcast 4. And so I'm just going to produce this show for you right now. I'm using an SM57 into the Mixcast, and let's just get into the show here. Just going to go ahead and give this a little fade down so we can get into the actual content. And I really just believe that this is an amazing fucking podcast device, all right? And I'm able to just do everything that I need to do in the box here. In the box, like right recording to an SD card to record my podcast, and I just absolutely love it. So if you're looking for the next great device to produce a show, I mean, right now I'm not even hooked up to a computer, right? I'm not even hooked into a computer, but I have the ability to be able to talking to 4 of my friends, and if I need to say something to them that goes off screen, and I can talk to them and say, hey, let's wrap this show up. And nobody knows the wiser. And all this time, it's recording to an SD card built into the device. My friends know that they are recording. And of course, they can control their own headphone outputs. Remember, folks, keep those headphones low. You don't want to blow out your ears. But I can record this podcast, get lots of applause. I could even, ask a deep question and have them think about this. What's your favorite kind of ice cream? Don't say mint chocolate chip, because that's for old ladies. But then, hey, I'm going to wrap up my show. Everyone had a good time. It's great. And we can start to fade our music back in. And thank you for coming to my little podcast. It's only a couple minutes long for this video, but I think you could see that you can get some really great results out of this device. As always, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.
So I think Tascam knocked this out of the park. There's so many features and workflows that make sense from somebody who's producing a podcast. This unit costs about $599 and you can get it at most online retailers. So if you're looking to invest in the next piece of gear for your podcast, I highly recommend the Mixcast 4. I'm going to be using it exclusively going forward because I love the workflow and the feature set involved. Now, if you'd like to win this Mixcast 4, all you have to do is go ahead and click the link in the notes down below. I'm giving away this unit. Tascam sent it to me and I'm giving it to one of you. So all you're gonna do is click that link to get entered and you could have a Mixcast 4 just in a couple weeks here. For more podcasting tips, tricks, strategies, and reviews, go ahead and click the subscribe button to see every single one of my videos. And just remember, you're only one episode away from your next download, so push that big red button.